Asked to talk to you about the Plan-demic. Michael Green, come up here.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Sam and John and everyone, for the opportunity to address you all today. My name is Rabbi Michael Green. I'm a spiritual leader of a congregation and the director of the Chabad Center in Westborough, Massachusetts. I find it fascinating that I stand before you today with a bunch of individuals across the street who are attempting to silence me and calling me a fascist. I find that ironic since my ancestors were murdered by fascists and by communists. And I am here today in the United States of America to escape people like you. Generally, I shy away from stating political views in public. As a rabbi, I need to be apolitical. However, in the morally convoluted and turbulent times that we currently live in, I have a moral obligation to speak out. We are currently facing an existential threat, the likes of which we have never seen before here in the United States of America. Which threat, you ask? No, I'm not talking about any virus, but something far more dangerous. The threat is unprecedented medical tyranny. So-called pandemics are the favorite tool of tyrants. Throughout the world, oppressive regimes are tightening the noose around on political dissidents in the name of COVID courtesies. Shockingly, here in the United States is no different. As we speak, the First Amendment is under attack. Just 100 years ago, the Soviet Union declared a so-called New World Order. Under the banner of communism, all religion was declared non-essential. The Soviets began a program of banning all forms of religion, of public religion. You were not permitted to keep religion in your home, people were told, but not in public and no gatherings. Nearly everyone complied. Most rabbis were silent and advised their adherents to flee to the Soviet Union for freer countries. One fearless man refused to comply. His name was Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. He dared to defy the dictates of the Stalinist regime and inspired his adherents to do the same. He was arrested and incarcerated. His initial death sentence was commuted to a lifelong exile in a remote Asian province. But miraculously, due to intense international pressure, the Rebbe was liberated in June of 1927. It was due to the Rebbe's selfless heroism that Judaism survived the 70 years of intense religious persecution in the former Soviet Union. My friends, we are currently experiencing a similar assault on religion in general and on Judaism in particular, right here in the United States. As we speak, Jews in New York State are under siege. They are not free to gather for worship or to educate their children. This is all taking place while Muslims are free to gather in worship and Black Lives Matter folks are allowed to gather in protest or even for rioting and looting. This is unspeakable. Religion has been deemed non-essential by government and public health ideologues. Some religions, that is. But what is essential for them? Rioting, looting, and lawlessness. Please don't say that the government is acting out of concern for our well-being. That is patently false and cynically misleading. In fact, it's just the opposite. The government never cared about our well-being, but only about its own power. Their so-called public health policy cares little about the public's actual health, and that's why our children are being exposed to untold poisons in our society in what has become a veritable toxic soup. Glyphosates, pesticides, carcinogens, aluminum, fluoride, you name it. Skyrocketing cases of autoimmune disorders, diabetes, cancer, autism, and not a word from the so-called public health ideologues. Do you know why that is? It's simple. Because you can't catch cancer from someone else, or autism, or Crohn's disease. They only care about one thing. A disease that's allegedly contagious. It doesn't matter if the disease has a survival rate of 99.9%. It doesn't matter that this disease is far less dangerous than cancer, let's say. The mere possibility that it's contagious is all they need. That provides them with a pretense to interfere with your freedoms, your autonomy. Because the most virulent, malignant, and dangerous notion in our generation is the concocted idea of asymptomatic transmission. It gives government the most coveted authority They can now interfere with our essential liberties. They try to ban our gatherings, freedom to protest. They shut down our houses of worship and our schools. They can keep us prisoner in our own homes or worse. My friends, none of this is even remotely constitutional. We have a Bill of Rights. It's time to assert our rights. The government may not interfere with our First Amendment rights or any essential human rights without exercising strict scrutiny. There's absolutely no strict scrutiny with regards to any single COVID policy. There is no science here. It's all based on fear and control. They tell us that children need to wear masks because of what they call asymptomatic transmission. But Dr. Fauci himself tells us that there's no such thing as asymptomatic transmission. So why are they forcing masks on our faces? They tell us pre-symptomatic transmission. But wait a second. We're also told that children hardly ever show symptoms for this disease. So if they can't be symptomatic, then they can't be pre-symptomatic by the same token. So why are they forcing 2-year-olds to wear masks all day? Why are they forcing 5-year-olds into isolation? When I ask doctors, they tell me it's for uniformity. They want everyone in society to conform. I say exactly, just like in the Soviet Union. The tyrants crave conformity, and that's why they're so annoyed by religion. Because religion holds you to a higher standard. I answer to God Almighty and not to any human overlord. And that's no good for tyrants, so religion has to be declared not essential. But it's not just religion under siege. Humanity is under siege. That's why the governor shut down health food stores for 3 months while he let liquor stores open. He shut down our small businesses but allowed large corporations to operate. He shut down our schools and kept our children glued to computer screens. Our elders were condemned to isolation and loneliness. Hydroxychloroquine was banned and doctors who dissented were censored. This is not about what's good for our well-being. It's all about tyranny. The fact that this is happening right here in Massachusetts is shocking. We were the first colony to rebel against British tyranny. We were the first state of the Union to recognize our communal obligation to educate all children. That's right. Massachusetts was the first state to pass a comprehensive education law in 1789. That education of children became a communal responsibility. And here we are over 2 centuries later, slacking off on our duty to educate our children in the name of an insidious policy of lockdown with no strict scrutiny or scientific basis. In fact, our legislature right here has been attempting to violate our precious religious freedoms by eliminating religious exemptions to mandatory vaccine policy, or at least by making it more difficult. And now our governor has mandated the flu shot for all children, including babies.
No!
This is an egregious assault on our First Amendment. Sadly, there is one specific party that has become the party of medical tyranny. The other party is not completely innocent, however. Just look at our governor, who has brazenly trampled our First Amendment rights by mandating the flu shot. However, today, I would like to thank our law enforcement officers who are keeping us safe and allowing us the sacred right of freedom of speech. But I'd like to appeal to the moral conscience of all of the men and women who serve in our police force and in our government, and any medical personnel who might be here as well. In case you haven't been asked already, in the near future, you will be asked to commit an act of violence or tyranny against innocent and defenseless individuals. They will ask you to enforce an unjust mask policy, or a social distancing policy, or even worse, their corrupt vaccine policy. Do not listen. Do not heed such unjust orders. Remember that you answer to God Almighty above all else. The upcoming COVID vaccine and the entire mandated vaccine policy is an egregious violation of morality, the moral and ethical code for all humanity known as the 7 Noahide lives in the Bible. All lives matter, especially the lives of infants, the most innocent and vulnerable among us. Our babies don't deserve to be cut open like laboratory animals with their hearts beating with no pain medication. We cannot allow this horrific death cult to continue. And at the very least, we must resist the government's cruel efforts to impose these morally dubious products on us. I'm referring to human cell lines. But there are a lot more dubious products in contemporary vaccines that are morally dubious. Our nation's motto has always been, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses who burn to breathe free. Apparently, we are no longer guaranteed the right to breathe free anymore here in Massachusetts. No pun intended. With their nefarious medical tyranny, our Commonwealth is attempting to create a new population of huddled masses whom they are deliberately marginalizing simply because of our detailed personal beliefs, which are protected by the First Amendment. senators and representatives, don't trample our First Amendment rights. Don't collaborate with pharma. My body, my choice. Our bodies, our choices, and we mean it. We must end these unjust COVID policies right now. Our precious freedoms hang in the balance. There's too much at stake. Vote wisely. Thank you.
Toda Rabbi. Shalom, Rabbi. Thank you very much. We have everybody in our group welcome. We love everybody from everywhere. The only race we believe in is the human race.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to introduce you all to who we like to call the General, Bao Chow Kelly. Amazing woman. Here she is.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to thank Super Happy Fun America for organizing this great event today. This is a peaceful protest, and can you hold this for me, John? Please, thank you. Yeah. So, sorry. Can you grab it? So, I'm from Vietnamese American for Trump, and I'm Chow Kelly. So, you can see how racist this group is. They got Asian American, they got Black American, all in here. And yet the media said Super Happy Fun America is racist.